everyone. Hello from Lower Slower, Delaware. It's Tammy with Aortic Hope. I know Velda's with us, so hi, Velda. I'm so glad you're here. Before we go on, I want to make sure that you click to subscribe and share this so we can reach the community. So let's go on to a Movement Monday. I hope everybody's moving, even in this cold weather. So we started the Movement for Movement Monday check-in to make sure you're still keeping the momentum going. So are you going strong? What are you doing, Velda? It's been 2 weeks since we set our movement goal for 20 minutes of daily intentional movement, not just walking to the refrigerator for more snacks. Are you doing it all at once, or are you breaking it up? Every little bit counts. Have you found your groove? Share with us on social media. If not, it's okay. Start fresh today. It's always good to start on Mondays. And we'll continue to check in with everyone on every other Monday. And there's use that hashtag of movement for movement. And our motivational tip is to focus on progress, not perfection. Every 5 minutes of stretching or walking is a step in the right direction. I always like the saying that change is a process, not an event. So if you're trying to start a new routine, you don't have to do it all perfectly starting the day because it's Monday. You know, if you only usually go to your mailbox once a week, walk out to your mailbox every day this week. That'll make a change. And our call to action is to share your wins or your challenges with us. Let us keep supporting each other. If you do have a challenge, let other people know. Or you're not motivated, and somebody might have some ideas for you. Supporting each other can offer encouragement, feedback, resources, as well as a boost of confidence, help overcome obstacles, and provide valuable insights. And as always, make sure that you check with your physician. So Velda, did Velda write anything? Are you doing anything, Velda? I'll tell you what I'm doing.
Velda says, she says, doing exercise every day, breaking it up 4 times a day.
Good for you, Velda. And what exercise are you doing? Are you just walking? I am back at the gym. I have a PICC line in, so I can't do anything anything that has to do with lifting my arms or any weights with my arms. So I'm doing lower body strengthening, I'm doing a lot of the treadmill, the bicycle. So, and I've been trying to go every other day. I'll tell you, what's really hard is I can't take a shower with this PICC line. So I have this big rubber thing I have to put on, and it hurts. I must have fat arms at the top because it's cuts the blood pressure, the blood off when I have it on. So I don't want to take a shower every day. So I take a bird bath when I don't go out of the house. Then the next day I go to the gym just so I don't have to wear that thing on my arm. It's awful. Okay, let's go to topic Tuesday.
Velda says, mostly chair yoga.
Oh, good. I love my yoga and I love chair yoga. Velda, you'll have to private message me and share if you have a link of somebody that you like, because I've been kind of looking around. I haven't found anybody that I really like. So either share it here or send me a message. I would love to hear. So topic Tuesday, my name is Ken.
Hold on. Christina says, I walk on the treadmill 30 minutes some days, but mostly it's cow chores daily. Christina has a small dairy farm. She's awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard she took you guys on a tour one day of her dairy farm, right?
Yeah, she's awesome.
I love that. I love that idea. Well, I can imagine the exercise that you get is being on a dairy farm. Mm-hmm. Whenever I've been at the gym, complaining that I'm there and I'm bored on my treadmill, I always say to my husband, if we worked on a farm, we wouldn't have to come to the gym and pretend to exercise. So.
And then Velda says, bicep curls with 5-pound weights.
Okay. You're good. That's good. 5 pounds is good. Good for you, Velda.
Good
But
job, Velda.
Velda has a background in physical education, I think. Why do I think that? I think she does.
She was a fitness instructor.
Okay, I knew she had a background. So, okay, Topic Tuesday. Welcome back to Topic Tuesday. My name is Kiana Sahari, and she's a medical student at Warren Alpert Medical School of Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, pursuing cardiac surgery. Yay, we need people. I'm excited to be joining the Aortic Hope community and will be contributing to the medical information post going forward. And today we will be learning about a key topic in cardiac surgery, the type A versus B aortic dissections. This is one of the first things that people ask about. What kind of dissection did I have, when they start understanding that there's different types. If you haven't had a chance to read our previous post about parts of the aorta and aneurysms of the aorta, make sure you check back and look at those first. As a review, your aorta is the major blood vessel bringing fresh blood from your heart to the rest of your body, and has a root, ascending arch, and descending component. The aorta has 3 layers: the innermost tunica intima layer, the muscular middle tunica media layer, and lastly the outermost tunica adventitia layers. Like, I don't know, why do I think if I lean in, I'll read it easier? When I'm not sure about a word, I lean in. Before we dive into the difference between type A and B, let's first discuss what an aortic dissection means. An aortic dissection happens when there's a tear in the innermost layer of the aorta. This tear allows for blood flow between the layers of the aorta instead of straight through the pipeline towards the brain and the rest of the body. Blood flowing at a high pressure between the inner and middle walls of the aorta cause the layers to separate from each other or dissect, which disrupts the normal blood flow to the rest of the body. So while I'm going down here, I want you guys to put in the comments what type of dissection you had. An aortic dissection is a rare but life-threatening medical emergency. Symptoms of an aortic dissection include sudden, severe tearing chest, back or stomach pain, loss of consciousness, shortness of breath, leg pain, difficulty walking, weak pulses in one arm or leg compared to the other, and stroke-like symptoms such as vision problems, difficulty speaking, or weakness. If these symptoms are experienced, 911 should be called as soon as possible. My only symptom was some pain in my collarbone, and then I did lose the feeling in the back of my legs. And it was interesting. I remember being in the ambulance, and they couldn't get an IV in. I think my veins had collapsed, and they couldn't get an IV in. And they kept talking about my blood pressure, but they didn't put all that together. So there's 2 main types of aortic dissections, Stanford type A and B. Type A dissections are more common and dangerous. These dissections involve a tear in the ascending or the upper part of the aorta closer to the heart. These dissections can extend to the arch and full length of the aorta. Type A dissections usually require immediate surgery to repair or replace the damaged parts of the aorta. Then type B dissections involve a tear only in the lower or descending parts of the aorta and can extend into the abdominal aorta. Surgery may be needed depending on the severity. However, most cases are managed with medicine. And then there's some pictures. So I am a type A. I have seen it written in my report, type A with residual B, and I believe the way they wrote that, because my type A was repaired from the root to the arch, but then my aneurysm, I did not have an aneurysm. I had the dissection of a part B, but that did not aneurysm until later, like last year when I had the surgery. Some risk factors for aortic dissections are having aortic aneurysms, high blood pressure, arteriosclerosis, usage of tobacco products, aortic valve disease, heart conditions present at birth, such as a bicuspid valve, genetic or connective tissue disorders such as Turner, Marfan, or Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, traumatic injury to the chest, and more. I do remember them asking me if I drank energy drinks or did street drugs. And my answer, those two are not listed on here, but I do remember them asking me. And the answer was no for both of them. Having an aortic dissection can be very overwhelming and distressing experiencing. And surviving it can evoke many different emotions. The Aortic Hope family is here to make sure no one has to go through the experience alone, whether you're a patient, a family member, friend, or just interested. Aortic Hope has support, resources, and a place for you in our community. So you have to look for some more articles by Kayana coming up. So the two of you that are with us right now, what type of dissection did you have? Do you know?
So Velda says type A ascending dissection that was rupturing when they opened my sternum.
Wow.
Right. And Christina says type B arch down all the way down to the left iliac.
And Christina, have you been repaired, or you watch and wait? Since they can sometimes medically manage that.
Remember, they're going to be a little bit behind on the response.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to click over. So don't delay. Today's the last day for our swag sale. 15% off of everything in the spread shop. So until today, and there's a button there. There's a link. If you go to our blogs, there's a link that you can take us right to the spread shop and the 15% off. I'm wearing, can you see it? I live in my, this is my dress up outfit. I live in my zippered hoodie, Aortic Hope. I look at the sleeves once in a while because I put it on no matter what happens. But if I get up in the morning and I'm wearing what I call my get up with my sweatpants and a sweatshirt that day, or if I go out and I come in and I want my comfy clothes on, that's what I put on. And then I look at the sleeves and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've worn this a couple of days. I need to put it in the wash. But that Aortic Hope zippered sweatshirt is what I wear almost all the time. This is what I wear in the winter to most of my doctor's appointments. I do wear it to the gym, and people will ask me, I wear it to gym and then take it off. During the summer, I have several of my t-shirts, and you'd be surprised how many people ask you, because they'll come up. I just had somebody the other day and said, my dad was just diagnosed with aortic stenosis. Is that the same thing? What can you tell me about it? I've had people come up to me and say, you know, my first cousin just had an aortic dissection. And then I say, then you need to be checked. And 9 out of 10 times they had no clue that they needed to be checked. But yeah, if you want to brighten your day in this dreary part of the year, you want something fun, go to the swag shop and do a little shopping right in the comfort of your own home. So there you go. Today is the last day. And they do have, I mean, I have like coffee cups. I have a really nice, the water bottle that just unscrews. I take that to the gym. It's just the right amount of water to take with me. Instead of, I was just reading that when you drink these bottles of water, even the BPA free ones, I found out that Audis, they say BPA free with the cases of water. You still are drinking, and I don't know what the amount of time is, but like a credit card plastic amount of plastic every time, not every time, but after you drink so many of those, that's how much ends up in your system. So don't drink out of those bottles. We have enough issues. So this is coming up. Oh, did they answer?
Yeah, Christina got back to us. So she's in the watch and wait. She's got a doctor's appointment this Thursday with a thoracic surgeon. She says there's a 6 millimeter growth in the last year. It's been 11 years since her dissection.
Wow, 11 years. That's really great. You must be doing a really good job of learning about your situation and doing everything you need to be doing. It's so easy to just bury your head in the sand and say, I know I just talked to somebody the other day who was like, they had high blood pressure. And they're like, I can't remember to take it, and it makes me feel weird, and it makes my head dizzy, and I don't want to take it. And I've tried to explain to them nicely, without judgment, how important maintaining a good blood pressure is. And they think that just by going to the gym, it's going to fix everything, and they don't need to take that blood pressure medicine. But I asked them to, very nicely said, please try to take it every day. Then maybe you can, by going to the gym, you can back off of it. From what I know, they don't have any other issues but the high blood pressure. But it is surprising to me how many people just don't want to take medicine because it doesn't make them feel well. And then instead of going back and talking to the doctor, they just don't do it. So that's great. I'm glad you're in the community, because we need people like you who have been successful for that, with that weight and watch and all the emotions that go into it. So, okay, well, coming up for all these athletes, all of us that have gone back to the gym, on the 30th, what day is that this month? That's this week. What day is the 30th? I think it's Thursday. Yes, it is Thursday, because Wednesday's the 29th. Yes, on Thursday, Michael Lopresti is going to be talking and giving a presentation about aortic athletes. It's going to be live, and the way this works is you just join on YouTube, and you'll be able to type your questions in. If you don't want your name to be associated with the question, we do have a way for you to send your information in, and your question would be asked private, without, it will be asked through Aortic Hope rather than your name. But just remember, anything that is posted is public on that channel forever. So, but yes, so so he will talk about running, but I'm sure, I know when I've trained for things, there's more than to, when you're planning on doing a marathon or a half marathon or 5K or just running for exercise, there's a lot more to training than just running. So I'm sure he'll have good advice for us. Therapeutic Thursday. It's Therapeutic Thursday, and we're discussing how to beat the blues, how to beat the winter blues when the temps drop. Yes, I feel like I'm hibernating. Does everybody else feel like you're hibernating? Cold weather got you feeling down, you're not alone. When the days are short and the temperatures are freezing, it's easy to feel blah or even downright depressed, but don't let winter steal your joy. Here are some easy feel-good ways to keep your spirits up when you're chilly outside. So get outside, really. Like I have been surprised when I bundled myself up and got outside, just walking to my car to go to the gym or the grocery store. And I'm like, it does kind of feel nice to take a big breath of fresh air outside. So I will agree with that. Just even 10 minutes of fresh walk and some natural light. The natural light is what I think is helpful to me. Just go for a quick walk, make some snow angels, or just stand outside with a warm drink. So stay active. Cold weather doesn't mean you have to freeze on the couch. Try indoor workouts, yoga, even a dance party in your living room. Moving your body gets those endorphins flowing and helps you feel energized. That is really, really true. And I heard, just like Velda, I've been doing some chair yoga. When I don't go to the gym that day, I do try to put something on YouTube and follow along with some chair yoga. I've been reading a lot. Turn your home into a warm, inviting haven. Light some candles, grab a soft blanket, and sip some of your favorite hot drink. Bonus points for watching a comforting movie or reading a book you love. So I've been reading a lot. Do you two girls read a lot in the winter? I feel like I've read more than I usually do, even in the summer when I sit outside and read a lot. I feel like I start reading earlier in the day, where in the summer I read in the afternoon, I feel like, but during the winter, I might start reading like around 11 o'clock in the morning. So, and I have found, I started getting tired of my tea bags, and I found a recipe to make what are called tea bombs. And it was supposed to be water, but I found a drink at Aldi that was a turmeric drink. So I poured that in the pan. You have to warm it all up first, and you make it into ice cubes. I'll explain in a minute. But so instead of water, I used the turmeric drink. And then it was 1 lemon squeezed, 1 orange squeezed, and the zest from each lemon and each orange. A little bit of honey. And I think that was it. Yes. And I filled up 2, I feel like there was something else, but you can find the recipe online. It's just called tea bomb. And then I filled up 2 ice cube trays with that. And then what I do is you just take the ice cube out, put it in your teacup, and put a green tea bag in it, and make your cup of tea. And it's really good. It's different than what I've been buying at the store with as far as flavors go. And I actually feel like it's been helping me to sleep at night to drink that. So if you're interested, look for tea bombs on, I got it off of Pinterest.
That sounds interesting.
Stay connected. It's tempting to hibernate, but staying social can boost your mood. Host a game night, call a friend, or schedule regular chats with loved ones. Connection is key. When I hang up here today, I have a friend that's been on my mind all weekend, so I'm going to give her a call. I only see her every couple of weeks, but or every couple of months, but I haven't talked to her in a while, so I'm going to give her a call this afternoon. Try something new. Winter's a great time to pick up a new hobby. Try cooking, painting, knitting, or even learning a language. Keeping your mind busy can help keep those winter blues at bay. So my something new is I just printed off how to make sourdough bread. And I tell you what, it sounds more like a hobby than a recipe, but I think I'm going to give it a try. So have either of you girls made sourdough bread, where you have to start with the starter, and it takes like a couple days? You have to like discard part of the starter. It's just flour and water, but it starts bubbling, and you got to pour out half of it, and then you feed it again, and then like 3 weeks later you can start making sourdough bread with it. So that's my something new. Have you guys started something new, and have you done sourdough bread? Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're feeling overwhelmed, don't hesitate to reach out for support. Talk to a friend, family member, or a therapist. Taking care of your mental health is just as important. But that's where going outside, I feel like, really helps me. So find the thing that helps you. Winter might be cold, but it doesn't have to feel gloomy. With a little effort and self-care, you can turn those frosty months into something special. Stay warm, stay positive. Remember, spring is just around the corner. Or maybe a couple warm days.
It looks like it'll be warming up here over the next couple weeks.
I hope. So we always have Feel Good Friday.
Hold on.
I was going to say, did anybody respond?
Yeah. So Velda and Christina both are like, no, I don't read enough. And Christina's like, I don't read books. On the topic of sourdough, Velda says, sourdough is a marathon. My daughter does it. I love sourdough.
I love sourdough bread, and I've printed it out. I got my little mason jar out, and a rubber band, because you mix it up, and then you put the rubber band where the sourdough is for the first day, and then you put the rubber band so that you'll know if it bubbled up and grew, if it grew any. And then you're supposed to take half of that out, throw it away, and feed it again with more flour and more water each day. And you move the little rubber band up. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to start tomorrow or not, because tomorrow's Tuesday. I'm supposed to go away Wednesday, which means I'm not going to be here Thursday morning to feed it. So I don't know. It sounds like it might be, maybe if we get another big snowstorm. We got 12 inches of snow here a couple weeks ago in lower Delaware, and we literally didn't leave the house for a week. So maybe that's when I'll do it. We'll see. So, okay, Feel Good Friday.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
So let's see here. Velda says sourdough chocolate chip cookies and sourdough cinnamon rolls. I've never heard of either one of these things, but I feel like that's got to be delicious.
Well, and so I haven't spent much time checking this out yet, but apparently sourdough bread, which so any of the sourdough you use to make like chocolate chip cookies or banana bread or whatever would is supposed to be lower on the glycemic chart. So it's supposed to be good for diabetics. I haven't checked that out yet, but what they do is, so once you get started and you're a couple months into this, and you apparently can take the dough in the jar, your starter, and you can put it in the refrigerator and it kind of goes to sleep. But then when you take it out and you have your starter established, and you have to continue to take some of it out to feed it, or it doesn't keep that sourdough taste. When you take out half of it or 1 cup of it or whatever, instead of throwing that away, you can use that to make like cookies and things to bake with. So I see people making like pizza doughs and, like you said, chocolate chip cookies and things like that. So I don't know, Velda. I want to do it, but like I said, it doesn't sound like it's just like a one-time. Well, I know it's not like a one-time thing, but it sounds more like a hobby. Like you really need to you really need to practice at it, and you need to know what you're doing, because if you don't do it right, it gets all moldy and everything. So I don't know. We'll see.
Christina says, I make the no knead bread from Rob. That was one of his first Aortic kitchen things. Yep.
Oh yeah. Yes, I remember that one. That's what I was wondering about that. So if we wanted to look for a certain recipe, because there was a recipe that he did like a year ago and I didn't print it off. Can we go back and find those? All those YouTube are there, right?
He has them there's a files section on Facebook where he keeps everything.
Okay, okay, then I'll just go to that Facebook page. Okay, thank you. Sure. That's good to know. Okay, so having a scheduled surgery usually leads to a better outcome for so many reasons. We've talked about this before, that a scheduled surgery is much better than an unexpected emergency. One of the reasons is there's time to prepare, to educate yourself about the procedure, and create your post-care ahead of time. Check out the link below for some pre and post operation suggestions created by the community. And there is a link. So girls, I'm going to ask you if, or I'll ask Velda, since Christina hasn't had surgery yet, but if Velda could give one idea of what she would suggest for getting ready for surgery. Mine was getting a comfortable place to sit, because I've had 3 surgeries now. My first surgery obviously was unexpected, and when we came home, there was so much. It just seemed like so much confusion of how to get the house ready for me. We had us living on 2nd floor. It was obvious I wasn't coming up and down steps for quite a while. Like I was going to go upstairs and not come down for a while. And so my husband went and rented this, the electric chair that you can sit up, and it helps you get up from a sit. And that thing, he signed like, I don't know if it was a 6-week contract. That thing was so hard I couldn't sit in it. So I didn't sit in it, but he'd already paid for it for 6 weeks. So it stayed in my bedroom. And then they brought in another recliner from our basement, but it had the pull thing where there was like the big stick on lever on the side and you got to pull it up. And so it was great to sit in, but I couldn't pull the lever. I couldn't do the lever. So I always had to wait for somebody to be there if I wanted to actually recline in it. So my next surgery, I knew what to expect. And we borrowed a recliner for somebody that had it in their basement. We're not using it. I borrowed an electric recliner that actually went back and up with a push of a button. So that is my recommendation, is to have a comfortable place to sit that you can operate. Like most people, I slept in that recliner for the first couple of nights, and that's where I took all of my naps. I didn't get back in bed during the day. I took my naps in the recliner those first couple weeks. So what do you think, Velda? Do you have any suggestions?
Velda says, first off, for the sourdough, she says, yeah, it's too much work for me too. She says, having a shower chair in the tub.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. The other thing that happened with me, Velda, is when I came home, I had my husband, my mom, my sister, and 2 daughters. So 5 people that wanted to be in charge of my medicine. And they all wanted to do something, and they all picked the medicine that they were going to be in charge of. And what happened was, between 5 people, nobody knew what anybody was doing. So one night, my sister had a temper tantrum, and she made a chart, and she told nobody was allowed to give me medicine, especially the pain medicine, unless we looked at this chart and it was checked off. And then she got mad because somebody messed up the chart. So then she said, when you give me medicine and you checked it off on this chart, they have to initial who did it. But yeah, so if you have a large family who thinks that they're going to come in and take care of you, you might need some organization to the caregiving. So Survivor Series on last Saturday was Brian Brantley, and I've met Brian when I went out to San Diego with Karen one time. Guess it's been January 2 years ago now. Brian lived in, where's the Super Bowl played? Not Super Bowl, Rose Bowl.
The Rose Bowl, yeah, that's where he's at.
What town is that in?
Oh, he's in California. I'm not
I
sure
know.
which part of California it's in.
Yeah. He's right there where they do the Rose Bowl. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, so Molly Thomas, who you guys see here, Molly lives in San Diego. He drove Pasadena. He drove down from Pasadena and met Molly and myself and Karen for dinner. He had never met another survivor, and he was so excited to actually like sit down and talk face to face with 3 other survivors. And it was great hearing his story. When you watch his video, he's a very good storyteller. He was having a normal day at work, and he was supposed to leave that day to go to a friend's wedding. And he actually became like a missing person because he didn't show up at the wedding and nobody knew where he was, and he wasn't answering his phone. And he had no family around. Family came in, but there was a time that he was like a missing person because nobody could find him. He obviously wasn't answering his phone. But he talks about, that moment when he's told to call his family and tell him what's going on, and they actually took the phone away from him, and they were like, okay, we got to go. And he talks about the recovery. He talks about the trauma of recovery. And his was a type A and a type B dissection. So his dissection was from the root through the arch, through the thoracic. And he talked about how he received very good care. They did the CAT scan right away, and they knew right away what their plan was for him. He talks about recovery, doing cardiac rehab and getting back to where he is now. And he just wants to give back to the community. So he tells a great story. So if you haven't watched his video, I would really encourage you to go watch it. If you have not done a video or told your story, what we always say is be a shining light for other people and tell your story. That was one of the things I wanted to do right away when I first understood what happened to me. Of course, Aortic Hope was not doing the Survivor Series yet at that time. But I wanted to know, like, everything, like what happened to you, how did you feel, what did you think about, what medicine are you on, what doctors are you seeing, you know, am I going to explode if I sneeze too hard, those kinds of things. And I met Karen by a fluke. Karen actually lived we could have walked to each other's houses. She lived less than 2 miles from me. And this was before we were using Microsoft Teams and you know, all the platforms that we're using now. They just had a Facebook page that when a certain day of every month, survivors would get on that page, and it was like a Zoom meeting, and anybody could listen in. And I for some reason, I had typed in aortic dissection into Facebook, and this was like a year, 18 months or so after my dissection, my initial dissection. I just typed in aortic dissection in the Facebook, and this came up, and they were talking. And so I briefly told my story, and from something that I said, Karen said, "Where do you live?" And I said, "Oh, in Bel Air, Maryland." And at that time is where I lived. And she's like, "Oh my gosh." And so it was like, that was like a Thursday night. And by Saturday morning, I had her at a table with my legal pad, writing down everything she was telling me, talking about all the doctors I should be seeing, how to get in touch with them. We talked about medications. We talked about mental health therapist. We talked about disability. So yeah, once I got hooked into Aortic Hope, everything changed. And I'm sure both of you feel that same way. I would love to hear how both of you found us. If it was through a Google search, or did somebody tell you? Did your doctors tell you? I would love to hear how the two of you found us. Josh, how did you find us? Did Karen find you?
The John Ritter Foundation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did a little bit of work with them, and then met Karen and Greg, and
Okay.
worked a little bit with Greg, and then Karen wanted to do just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then things just evolved, and look at us now.
Well,
So,
I wanted to get you guys out of Facebook. It's not that, you know, Facebook is a bad place, but you have to be logged in to get that information. And so
right.
if you're trying to do a search, or you're trying to find people, being stuck behind a login and password is not the best thing. So
right.
Yeah, then the
Well,
YouTube channel.
And when I started, I don't even think we had not the type of Facebook page that we have now. When I joined, the Facebook page was like, it was mostly sharing like quotes and things like that, or something that worked for somebody, or they had a question, you know, how much caffeine can I have in a day? And other people would share their thoughts, or what the doctors had told them for their body. But now what are we? We're like, we have YouTube, we have, is it Threads? How many places are we now? X?
Well, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, that's right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I just read, we just sent out our yearly report, and it is amazing how we've grown. So, okay, let me know when, did Velda or Christina say anything? How they found us?
Not yet. Velda did say that Brian's story was very awesome, and I agreed, it was very awesome. He tells the story, and you know, he talks about that wedding, And he doesn't bring that wedding back up until after he's after surgery. And he's like, and I never made it to that wedding. And I
Yeah.
laughed out loud when he said that during the recording. I was like, oh my God, there's a
Yeah.
wedding.
Yeah. He said, and that's when he said that he was kind of missing for a while. Like they were really worried about where he was because they couldn't contact him. So,
Velda
okay,
says,
I'll go on.
Velda says,
Just,
some hospitals give out the patient guide now, which is incredible.
yes.
Very
Yes.
awesome.
That is like so huge. That is one of our biggest accomplishments. And anybody that has passed along the PDF. I see Velda shares it all the time. That's great. Or taking posters to your doctors. All that helps us to connect with people because, yeah, I remember feeling very lost. I felt a lot of guilt. I felt a lot of guilt for what I put my family through. Because I just could see the fear in their eyes. And I felt so guilty about that because I couldn't say to them, oh, I'm going to be fine. It's not like you break your arm and you're like, I'm going to be fine, or you have the flu. And I think one of the things that's so interesting about a dissection, an aneurysm, I think you're just as much of a shock too, because you're not expecting it. But with a dissection, you don't usually have any symptoms. And then all of a sudden your world changes and you're diagnosed with something that most people have never even heard of. I heard of an aorta, but I didn't know where it was or what it did. And I don't know, the shock has a huge impact on you, and really put you further back in recovery, I think. It's not just that physical recovery. So, which goes on to leads us into sharing on Sundays. And there's two communities that we participate in, and we have all the information for you. Is the first one is Savvy. What is Savvy and why do you want to consider signing up? Companies have questions and patients have answers. Too often companies and innovators waste time and money creating products and services that don't meaningfully impact patients' lives. Why? Because they never ask the patients. And they want to learn more about how you can earn money while answering questions. Check out the link. So I will say, of the two that we have, the Savvy and the Rare Patient Voice, Savvy can be a little bit more work up front, but their studies are usually bigger studies. They're not just a few questions and then you click off and you get a check. So with Savvy, the ones I've participated in, you have to send in like a copy, like a PDF through the email or something, showing that you can prove what your diagnosis is. You can't just say I had a type A diagnosis or I have the type B diagnosis. They want to see it. So it takes a little bit more effort on your part, but their payout is usually pretty good, like $100, $100 up to $200, $250. And they have less opportunities. So you just need to check it all the time. I get an email from them once in a while of things that are happening. The Rare Patient Voice is the one I participate in the most. And it is for patients and caregivers. So my sister has signed up and my mom has signed up. I think one of my daughters does it too, for rare diseases, and we are considered rare. But I will say they just added, was it like a year ago, also non-rare, because they are doing more. They have broadened the people that they're working with. But they want your opinion on surveys and interviews to improve medical products and services. And they're very, very easy. You sign up, you give them your information, and you get emails. I get an email probably every day or at least every other day. And you can go in and don't forget, if you are a caregiver for somebody else, you can check those boxes too as a caregiver. Like my mom has scoliosis, so I checked that off. And usually their surveys, you just click the link, you go in and you answer, usually it's like 3 or 4 preliminary questions. And if you fit their criteria, it'll take you to the actual survey. And there can be anywhere from 20, maybe 25, 30 questions. Sometimes they'll have you type out an answer. And then you'll get a check for $20 or $30. They'll verify your address, and then you get a check in the mail, $20, $25, $30. Now, I have participated in some of theirs that are like $100 to $200, $250, and $250. And those are a little bit more involved, where you answer a series of questions, and then you pick a time at the end that you can do a Zoom call with them. And sometimes they'll show you things on a screen, like they might be trying to develop for a new medication. They might be trying to develop a website for a new medication, and they'll be like, did you like the green one or the blue one better? The logo or whatever. But then I've also had some questions, and they're every time I've ever participated in one, if they said 50 minutes, at the end of that 50 minutes, they'd say, okay, Mrs. Warner, we thank you for your time. We don't want to go over our 50 minutes. But I've also participated in some because I've had breast cancer. I know one I did, it was a couple years ago, and it was completely based on whether or not you would have participated in chemotherapy that allowed you to self-inject something at home, like in your thigh, instead of going to chemotherapy in an infusion center. And I don't know whatever came of that, but those were the kind of questions it was. And sometimes you could tell they were asking the same question in a different way. But yeah, I highly recommend both of them. The easiest one is Rare Patient Voice. So click there and go in and answer their questions, and you'll get emails and a check for your knowledge and your opinion. Okay. So today's live or weekend review is sponsored by Rock from the Heart. Rocket from the Heart is a really great program organization. Can I click on this home? Will it take me there, or I'm already home? Okay, Rock from the Heart's mission is to proactively educate people about aortic and aortic valve disease, bridge the gap between impacted families and the support they need, and connect those diagnosed with vital resources and inspire all through the healing power of music. So they sponsor an event every year. I went to it a couple of years ago. They do still have tickets available. It's 26 days from now. It's in Minneapolis. And what they do is you arrive on a Friday, and then the event starts at like noon, 1 o'clock on Friday afternoon. And the whole symposium is for people with aortic disease. I know Karen, I'm pretty sure Karen is speaking this year. I've got a tickle in my throat. But it's very intimate. Like, I'm going to say there's like, trying to think, there might have been maybe 100 people there. So there was like 10 tables of 10 people maybe, but their speakers are wonderful. You can check out the event and look at who the speakers are this year. When I went, I learned a lot of new information. So they had a really nice balance between medical information and then personal stories and telling about their events, their event, what happened to them. When I was there, they had an author who had not had a dissection, but what she had been through was very similar as far as the trauma and the recovery. I'm trying to think who else. There was a comedian there one time that was very good. So then you have dinner. And then the next day on Saturday, Saturday we had time to ourselves, and Karen and the group that I was with, Karen, we went to see Princess House, We've toured the house that Prince built and lived in, and did his music. It was a wonderful tour. I highly recommend it if you go. And then Saturday night is some kind of rock event. And who is going to be there this year? Do you know? I should know.
The Spin Doctors.
Spin Doctors. Yes. So it's going to be the Spin Doctors. So I highly recommend it. They do have a Facebook page. It's Amy and Pete Johnson, and they do a wonderful job. They work so well. We always talk about playing in the same sandbox, and they play so well with us, and we've learned from them, and they've grown with us too. So I would highly recommend it. If you have the chance, please go take a look at their website. So, okay, I guess that's it for today. Velda and Christine, I'm so glad you were here. It makes it a little bit easier to actually feel like I'm talking to somebody besides Josh, who's heard all my stories. So I appreciate the two of you logging on. And I think Karen is back next week. I know Molly has a time in February. I have a time in February. So we try to take a couple days from Karen so that she can do other things in her life. So, okay, that's it. Thank you. Goodbye, and I'll see you soon. Stay warm.